Well, welcome back to No Neutral Moments podcast. It's great to have you with us, and we're kind of knocking out these quick episodes. I mentioned in the very first episode, maybe you're just now catching us and you're going to go catch up with the first two. We're talking about the questions you want to ask yourself and the tests you want to take yourself through if you're trying to make a big decision. And if you're thinking through major transition in your life. So I hope that you'll save these episodes, because I guarantee you, no matter what age you are, there's going to come a season in your life, it could be right around the corner, it could be several years from now, where you might need a bit of a chart or a paradigm or a series of questions to ask yourself to guide yourself through making major decisions. And as I said in the first episode, this was not something I had years ago. I just had a lot of people who were asking me, hey, I've got a big decision I need to make. Can you help me with it? And I started working on this list, started refining this list, started teaching this list. I've sent this document to friends of mine who are trying to make big decisions. I thought, you know what? We've got a podcast. Let's help people have a series of questions they can ask themselves. And each question is phrased as a test. No one question stands alone. I'm just giving you 7 categories to be asking yourself as you're processing some type of major decision in your life. And be careful with major. I mean, you're trying to work through the decision. So we're on number 5 and number 6. Remember, number 1 was the test of my mission and my vision. Test number 2 was, does it align? Is there alignment? Test number 3 was opportunity. Is this an opportunity that maybe I should pay attention to? And test number 4 was timing. Is this the right timing for myself, for my family, for my business, for people around me? So now we're to test number 5. And this one is probably more geared towards people who aren't as happy as they think they should be in their current position. And it's called the test of service and humility. Now, I'm going to give you a couple of questions in line with this test, because it's really a test of contentment. It's a test of your own values. It's a test of what you're willing to learn. So let me just press into the question. So the test is the test of service and humility. Here are the questions that I ask with that test. Here's the first one. Are you content to remain under for a season? Now, let me describe that. Many of us, most of you watching, are probably not, you're probably not person in charge. You might be, but maybe I'm wrong about that. But most of us have somebody over us, a boss, a supervisor. Sometimes we want change because we are not happy with our supervisor. We're not happy with our boss. That could be a test of opportunity. It could be a test of timing. It could be a test of mission and vision. It could be a test of alignment. People might say, you know what? You probably should be moving on because you're never going to go somewhere with this person over you. I get all that. But you also have to ask yourself, is there something else I need to learn being under someone and learning how to submit to leadership, learning how to honor leadership? It's a question of, am I content enough to learn where I am before I just try to escape? So it's the difference between escaping a situation or learning from a situation. And remember the question here. It's the 5th question, the test of service and humility. Is there enough humility within me to know that maybe I need a little more time under someone because I might think I'm better than them. I might think I'm more qualified than them. But do I have enough humility to respect them? It's just a simple question. Do you need to remain under authority before assuming you're ready to take a position of authority? So that's just a question under service and humility. I'll put it this way. If someone comes to me and they say, I think it's time for a career change. I think it's time for a big change in my life. I'm going to ask them the question, if they have a supervisor, how's your relationship with your supervisor? And if their first question is something like, I can't stand him or her, they drive me crazy, then I'm going to start pressing into that issue, because usually the things that drive us crazy about our supervisors are something in our lives, our own lives, that we need to work on. So I'm going to ask them to press into that for a little bit in this question of service and humility. The second question in service and humility is, are those over you needing you to finish what you're doing. In other words, you have a great relationship with the person over you, a great relationship with your supervisor or whoever it might be, but the timing is not right for the people that you're serving in your current organization. And are you willing to finish your service because those over you need you to finish that service? They're not trying to hold you back, but they need you to finish. Is there a job you need to finish, or are you just trying to get away from a job? Third question, and it's almost in line with the first two, but it goes like this. Are you running away from the face of refinement, or are you running away from the process of refinement? Many times, especially when you're in your first or second career, there are things that need to be refined in you. And it's easy to get sidetracked by everything that looks like an opportunity. So when you're trying to think about major transition or major career changes, especially in your younger years, but this can happen in midlife as well, are you willing to pay attention to the areas of refinement that are being exposed in a difficult situation before everything looks like an opportunity? This is one of those things that when you sit down with your friends and your trusted advisors and you think, and you're having this discussion about making a big decision, you want to ask the question, hey, what are the things in me that you think I need to work on or that need to get better in me, that I need to be better at professionally or personally before I make a big change? And if you have a trusted friend who will literally speak those things into your life, then it's going to speak to this area of service and humility. I wrote down another quote. Maybe this will help you as you're working through this test of service and this test of humility. I'm just going to read it the way I wrote it down. Especially for younger leaders, you might be right, but you may not be wise. In other words, you can know all the answers, but do you understand the questions? The higher you go in leadership, it's not so much about being right as it is about perception and wisdom and understanding the question and understanding the context and understanding the situation. Today, you can Google an answer. You can YouTube an answer, but you may not even understand the circumstances or the question. And it's incredibly fascinating how quickly you can gain what you think are answers because you can read a book. Again, you can Google an answer or whatever it is. But the greater aspect of leadership is not just being able to say, I have the answer, but it's being able to discern the larger context, the larger situation, and that's wisdom. Another word for wisdom, because it's such an overused word sometimes, is perspective. Do you have enough perspective to see the bigger picture? I'll give you an example. When I raise my children and I send them off to college, I want them to have answers for life, but more importantly, I want to raise them in such a way that when they find themselves in circumstances and issues, they have wisdom about their situation. They have a broader perspective about what's going on around them and what's going on in life that will lead them to the right decisions they may not be aware of. Wisdom is much more than just being right. It's having a larger perspective. So when you're looking at opportunities and looking at questions and looking at change and challenge, and you're going through the test of your mission and vision, and you're going through alignment, and you're looking at the opportunity, and you're looking at timing, and you're trying to see if these things are right. Just be sure you don't shortchange a deep look inside yourself to say, you know what, is there enough humility in me to serve where I am because I have lessons to learn and wisdom to gain, or am I ready to go because my heart's right and I'm not running away from something, and in fact, I'm probably even pursuing something I wasn't even looking for. That's question number 5. Question number 6 kind of goes in line with the test of opportunity, but a little bit different. And it's called the test of acceptable risk. If there's something worth pursuing, there's always going to be some level of risk within that pursuit. If it's without risk, then it's probably not going to grow you or help those around you. I've got a few questions about acceptable risk, and they're kind of obvious. But the first one is, are you willing to take a risk? The second one is, are you afraid to take a risk? This is what I find holds a lot of people back, especially those who are at a stage or a phase of life in their success and in their monetary achievement that they become a little unwilling and a little more afraid to risk because of what they might lose and what they've gained. That's a whole nother topic we could go into about being careful you don't outgain yourself. But are you willing to take a risk? Are you afraid to take a risk? Or are you going to step up to the plate? Will you accept the risk? And the other one is, are others around you excited and willing to take the risk? And that goes back to that alignment question. But here's the caution with risk. And I wrote it in my notes years ago. Are you just an adrenaline junkie who needs to stay put? In other words, you're a dream chaser and your family wishes you'd stop chasing opportunities because you're just an adrenaline junkie. And that's real. I mean, you can look at mind styles or different personality assessments, and there's some of us that are wired to just go, yeah, let's go jump off the cliff. But it needs to be an acceptable risk, and that goes in line with mission and vision. It goes in line with people getting alignment with counselors and people around you, and someone being willing to say to you, hey, I know you really like an adrenaline rush. I know you really like to chase things, so be careful here. And so just be willing to ask that question of acceptable risk, timely risk, opportunistic risk, or am I just looking to do something different? And here's what I'm going to do. I've already given you the 6 big questions, and I'll review them for you just so you get it. There's the test of calling. Is it in line with your mission, in line with your vision? The test of alignment, circumstances, people, things you're reading, what's being spoken into your life. Do you have a peace about it? Number 3, the test of opportunity. Does this seem like an opportunity that's in line with my preparation? It's in line with my heart and my soul and where I think I need to go. And others even say, this looks like an opportunity you should take. The test of timing. It's more of a gut issue, but also I shared with you in that episode about how I really checked the timing in my life based upon where my kids were. And then as you get older, you're really just talking to your spouse or significant other about, is the timing right? The test of service and humility. Remember, the big question there is, am I willing to serve under, to learn more before I go try and be over people or try something even more riskier? And then the test of risk. And then I'm just going to give you number 7 and we'll call it good. Number 7 is a bit of the trump card, but I don't ask number 7 until I have thoroughly worked through the other 6. And you're going to know why. And when I tell you what number 7 is, you're going to say, why did I have to waste all my time on these other episodes? Why couldn't you not just begun with that one? But I think if you'll use some wisdom and get the larger perspective, you'll know why number 7 is just the one I finished with, or that I'm going to finish with. And it's very simply this. It's the test of, I just know. I know. I already told you. I know you're rolling your eyes and you're like, really? Like you went through all 6 of these and now you're telling me I could just know in my gut. But remember, I'm going to be afraid of my gut. I'm going to test my gut. I want to just go, hang on a minute. I'm going to slow my gut down. And I think I put number 7 in there years ago because I'm prone to be a little bit of the adrenaline junkie, but I want to go through all those other tests. I want to go through my 90-day period. It might be your 30-day period or 21-day period or 60 days. But at some point, and I wrote it in my notes, when nothing else lines up, this may be all that matters. I mean, you just may not be able to escape it. You just may not be able to overcome it. You may just have to say, you know what? It is what it is. My gut is telling me to do this, and I just know what I know. But here's what I can nearly promise you. I know that sounds like you can't do that, like nearly promise somebody something, but here's what I would nearly promise you. If in your gut you just know that you know, I almost guarantee you go through these other 6 tests, and most of those are going to line up in some way, shape, or another. So hopefully this has been helpful. 7 questions you can ask yourself. You can go through either alone, you can go through it with your spouse, your significant other. You can take them through the process with you as you try to figure out, hey, 2024, 2025, what are some big things, big decisions, big changes I might want to make in my life, because every second counts, every moment counts. Hopefully these 7 questions will help you as you pursue a no neutral moments life. Thanks for spending time with us. Until the next episode, God bless and take care.